Every week, Tony, it's a week of something. It's National Tree Week or it's National Litter Week. Well, do you know what this week is?
No, I don't, Darren.
I'm going to tell you right now. It's National Bad Breath Week.
About time.
What are you looking at me in particular?
No, well, I can't look at anyone else.
Well, that's true. And
It's about time we had National Bad Breath Week.
Dr Jeffrey Speiser, a.k.a. Dr Bad Breath, joins us. Dr. Bad Breath, good morning to you.
Good morning, Darren. Good morning, Tony.
Good morning, Doctor. May I ask, in which particular sphere of medicine did you pursue in your younger years?
Dentistry.
Very nice. Mate, is it a case of physician heal thyself?
No, thank God.
Oh, how do you know?
Well, we have breath testing machines, and I'm paranoid to test myself every morning.
So, because you do know that it's almost like a submission hole from a championship wrestler. There's just no way out, as the dentist says, open wide, and he gets up close, and you're thinking to yourself, I think you've got a touch of halitosis.
Well, that's right, and a lot of dentists also suffer from the same complaint.
Oh, no, I was actually talking about the dentist.
How does it happen? Why do we get bad breath, Doc?
Well, look, everyone understands what causes temporary bad breath, things like having a hard night on the town, drinking too much alcohol, that sort of thing. But what we're concerned about are things that cause chronic bad breath, people that are on prescription medicines, antibiotics, hay fever, stress. That can affect your life so that you have bad breath every day.
Now, as far as that goes, can you give us some myths that you know about and debunk or support them? Such as, I'll kick you off with a myth that people who don't eat always will have bad breath.
True.
Reason?
Reason, if you don't eat, your body will attack body fat for energy, and one of the compounds released after it attacks body fat is ketones, and ketones have a particular smell.
And another one, what about garlic? Does that cause bad breath?
True.
True.
Give me some false ones.
Okay.
That's also true because garlic already contains the sulfur compounds that smell.
All right, what about a decayed tooth? Does that cause bad breath?
Maybe.
Right.
Look, it's not necessarily going to get bad breath, you must have a large amount of sulfur in the mouth that you're actually blowing out of your mouth. And a decayed tooth, although will smell when you're right up against it, may not create enough sulfur.
Here's another one from me, Doc. Once you've got halitosis, bad breath, whatever, you never get rid of it. True or false?
If it's caused by a chronic problem, such as postnasal drip, hay fever, that sort of thing.
You better go, hang on, back the car back up. Can you run that one past us again?
By a lot of nasal mucus, things, like you feel you've got a lump in the back of your throat, you're forever clearing your throat. You've got mucus dripping down the back of your throat. That's a food source for the bacteria. If you've got that sort of a problem, you probably will never get rid of it, but you can control and manage it.
I'll give you one more. If you don't brush your teeth, you'll always have bad breath.
You'll have decay.
Well, therefore, you will have that.
It'll compound itself. What about things, apart from brushing your teeth and the mouthwashes, someone mentioned to me a tongue scraper.
It's an amazing implement. You need to scrape and brush your tongue to actually treat bad breath.
I reckon if we did a survey now, I reckon 1 in 1,000 people would scrape their tongue. I've never even heard of one of these things till not long ago. What are they?
It's an implement shaped like a spoon, and the idea is that what you do is you put a gel on your tongue and you brush that into the tongue surface, and then you just use this scraper to clean off the top coating, and it takes off the bacteria, the saliva, that coating that just builds up on the tongue.
Doctor, how were you able to get the 11th to the 17th as your particular week? What did Darren?
Did you have to book it in?
Yeah. What did Darren and I miss last week, and what's following you next week? Do you know, as far as national weeks go?
We just grab the week and damn the others.
That's well. Now,
first in, best dressed.
Now,
exactly right.
In theory, it just sounds magnificent. That is to say, dob in someone with bad breath. But as we know, personal habits being what they are very personal things. So how would you go about it, taking off your dentistry hat and perhaps putting on your psychologist's hat? How do you actually approach someone who has got awful, rotten breath? Of course, none of us do. And inform them of such.
In a dental situation, it's fairly straightforward. In a public situation, I think you have to assess your relationship with the person, whether you know them, or whether you don't. But I think if you stick to clinical signs, so if you feel someone has bad breath, maybe talk about the coating on their tongue and say, do you realise that that coating could be causing a problem? I don't think you can come straight out and just say, hey, you.
Yeah. No, that's very true.
Listen, Tony, I want to tell you this.
But that said, 41% of Victorians would tell their mother-in-law. They had no issues with that.
Yeah, understandable. Now, Doc,
78% of them don't get to live to tell the tale after what they've done.
Doc, what about with New Year's Eve approaching and when you're sharing in the celebrations of the New Year and a bit of tongue rugby is happening, can you taste bad breath?
Yeah, it's got a sour taste to it, but you've got to taste the saliva.
And how would you know that?
Well, basically what happens is if you have bad breath, you will have a sour taste because the sulfur compounds dissolve in the saliva. You need saliva to taste things.
It's all about the sulfur.
It's all about the sulfur.
We have Michael who has a question for you, Doc. Good morning, Michael.
Morning, boys. Morning, Doc.
Morning.
Of all the products that are on Coles and Safeway and Bilo and all the other shops, do they all the toothpaste work or only some, or only the ones that Colgate subsidise your program?
Colgate don't subsidise my program at all. Basically, all the commercial products will treat temporary bad breath. None of them will tackle chronic bad breath. They're not designed that way.
So the mouthwashes do work on a temporary basis?
Sure, but also just cleaning your mouth properly, your body will rebalance itself for a temporary problem. So eating too much garlic, it will take care of itself.
Yeah.
And what about you stick your tongue out, you said, if there's a coating on your tongue?
And scrape it.
Look, if you have a chronic problem, then what's happened is you've had a change of bacteria in your mouth, and you have more of the bacteria that make the sulfur compounds than the other sort. So you need probiotics to actually change that bacteria back.
All right, I'm just tasting my own at the moment. I just don't know.
Don't.
Oh, well, I won't, Darren. I certainly won't. If there was a tiny bit of advice other than, eat well, be healthy, keep your normal sort of oral hygiene up to the scratch, but if there's something, little other tip that you can actually do if you think you may have it, what would that be?
Avoid a high-protein diet. So dairy is probably the number one cause. So cheeses, milk, ice creams, those sorts of things are the number one protein source for bad breath bacteria.
Oh, there's a tip. So if you're dining out over the Christmas period and you have garlic prawns followed by some ice cream and a cheese platter.
If you have garlic prawns, stick to water.
Yes.
Green cans, VB?
Look, alcohol definitely is a cause of bad breath because it dries the mouth. So, but the thing is, if you've cleaned your mouth beforehand, so you go into that meal with little bacteria, then you're not going to have a big increase if you dry your mouth out.
Coffee?
Coffee is acid, so acid will increase bad breath bacteria, so will diet drinks and soft drinks.
Thank you very much, Doctor.
Do anything.
It's bad breath week, Tony.
Yes, I know. Okay, this is going to be our challenge, Darren, throughout the week. What was last week and what's next week? Well, the first Tuesday in November, they run the Melbourne Cup. The second week in December is National Bad Breath Week.
We asked them to move the Melbourne Cup and put our week in there, but we couldn't get any response.
Thank you very much.
Lovely to talk to you, Dr. Jeffrey.
Everyone to go to dobbinbadbreath.com.au.
dobbinbadbreath.com.au. Thanks for joining us this morning, Dr. Jeffrey Speiser, a.k.a. Dr. Bad Breath.